Om Shri Sai Ram, offering our most humble and loving salutations at the lotus feet of our beloved Bhagwan Sri Sathya Sai Baba. I'm really inspired to say Jai Shri Ram, this being a very beautiful month and beautiful days. We are seeing an epic movement, an historical day, and I would say Kalpa changing movement of inauguration of Ram Mandir in Ayodhya. And this is our small little humble offering which has been inspired and guided by Bhagavan himself. So we are grateful for this beautiful, blessed opportunity. Let's continue this evening's offering with our prayer, and I request all of you to please join me in. O Lord, take my love and let it flow in fullness of devotion to Thee. O Lord, take my hands and let them work incessantly for Thee. O Lord, take my soul and let it be merged in one with Thee. O Lord, take my mind and thoughts and let them be in tune with Thee. O Lord, take my everything and let me be an instrument to work for Thee. Om Shri Sai Ram. Sai Ram, everybody, and welcome to this episode of Pranava, Omkar, the first manifestation of the Supreme Consciousness. We are blessed to continue this discussion, and as we have seen, so many layers have opened up, giving us directions and guidance to move forward. So let us start this journey. Let me invite my brothers here. Brother Anil, Sairam
Sai
Bhaiya.
Ram, Sai Ram to everyone.
So, brother,
Thank you.
we will continue our, yes, you want to say something? Sure.
No, that's fine. Yeah.
So I think we will continue our journey of dwelling into this whole Omkar concept. And as we have seen already, that we have discussed the 16 aspects of Omkar, as they call it, and we have seen the whole journey. We have discussed about it, but there is so many layers to it that we can touch upon at least for our curiosity and helping everybody. So, Brother Anil, if you recall, we have seen how Omkar became the origin, and he has expanded into this 16 facets or phases. But out of these 16 facets, Bhagwan Ram says that I am Ardhamatra. So I would like to start this discussion today. Let me invite Raju also. Brother Raju has come. Sairam Raju.
Sai Ram,
Saram, sir.
Sai Ram,
Sairam.
Sai Ram.
So we will discuss this, that from here, if you look at it, the 16 matras, in this Ardhamatra is one of the matras in 16. But the beauty is Bhagwan Ram says, I am Ardhamatra when he starts explaining the Omkar. And we have seen it in what you call in Bhagavad Gita. Bhagwan Krishna says, in word I am Omkar. And in Rama Gita we say, Bhagwan Ram says, in Omkar I am Ardhamatra. What is this Ardhamatra? How do we understand and look at it? Let us dwell into it a little bit and try to explore this. So, Brother Anil, I open the floor and request you to start the conversation.
As you were saying that in Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna said, in the words I am Omkar. And Lord Rama said, I am Ardhamatra in Omkar. And what Swami said is, I am the silence between Omkars. Right?
I'm
Correct,
the
no?
para. I'm the para in Omkar. Isn't it beautiful?
Right. It's beautiful, right? He is the silence in the Omkar, actually. So it's the Ardhamatra here. I think at two levels we can look at it. One is the Ardhamatra that comes in Omkar itself, which is the Sakar form of Lord Rama, we can say, right? Because we are able to hear it. There's a attribute to it, right? But there is another ardhamatra which runs across every syllable. No syllable can be pronounced without an ardhamatra. Right? Any word, any letter. Right? Can we say ka without the ardhamatra k? No, right? So there is this, even in that k, there is that. Actually, the ardhamatra is the flow of the sound, of the breath, I would say. There is the initiation at the level of the thought, which is the ardhamatra. It's like the screen on which the movie or the projection happens, right? It's all the time there, and the projection of letters or the sounds keep coming, attributes keep coming. So that basic, what should I say? We can't call it sound. That basic vibration which runs through every syllable is actually the ardhamatra. Right?
So
This is
actually,
the
Ardhamatra becomes the basis even of K.
of everything, of every
Of
yeah,
everything.
of every syllable. The ka as ardhamatra with respect to ka, right, is the vyavaharika ardhamatra. What should I say? It is the saguna ardhamatra, right, which also comes in Omkar. The ardhamatra on the top that we write, the half chandra that we show there in the Omkar, is the ardhamatra, which is the um, right, that half chandra that we show is the ardhamatra which comes as a sakar ardhamatra. So Lord Rama, as depicted as Lord Rama in the form, right, having kodanda and having a form, pumsam mohana rupaya, right, the most beautiful form. It seems Lord Rama was even more beautiful than Lord Krishna. Lord Krishna himself was very, very, very attractive. Lord Rama was even more attractive. So Swami said this in one of the discourses, right? So that Pumsam Mohana Rupaya is the Ardhamatra, which is the Vyavaharika Ardhamatra, right? But there is a Paramarthik Ardhamatra, which is the vibration, which is the origin of the sound, right? And that Ardhamatra runs through every letter. And that Ardhamatra is what Lord Rama is referring to when he says that I am the Ardhamatra. So I am this Sakar form of the Omkar. I am also the Nirakar form of the Omkar. That's my understanding of what Lord Rama has said when he said I am the Ardhamatra in Omkar.
Raji, you want to add something?
Yeah, but just to add another meaning that Swami also gives through one of the discourses, I think it is in 1990 in discourse in which Swami gives a beautiful dimension. He says matra is measurements. It is a it's a term used for measurement. So and in human body, what are the things that measure? Swami says those are sense organs. Sense organs have
Yeah,
the quality to measure, the innate quality to measure. Eye measures the height, weight, etc. So each one has a measurement attribute, and hence senses are called the matras. And ardhamatra is also another meaning to it, is also the one that is beyond measurement, the one that can never be measured,
yeah, beautiful.
and that is
Because
how.
no, Swami in one of the discourses, Swami said that which is measurable is Maya.
Oh,
So that which is
beautiful.
measurable is
Wow.
Maya.
That is Maya. So,
So,
yeah,
so it's such a beautiful, powerful sentence, you know. See, when we say Purnamadah Purnamidam, Purnat Purnamudachyate, Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Avashishyate. The Parabrahma has been described as one from, is a complete wholeness, right? Completeness, totality. And from the totality, you remove totality, and still what remains is totality. What is taken out is totality. Now, if you look at it from perspective of measurement, quantitative thing, no, you can never explain this. I take a lump of something, I break something out of it. The lump is not full now, nor is the broken part full, right? So, how does Swami explain this? Swami says the sweetness in the lump of sugar, right, remains complete even in the lump. You break a piece, in that also the sweetness remains the same, right? So now you understand. So what is the God's nature? It is
See,
quality and not quantity, and quality cannot be
good.
measured. That's why Swami used to always say, I want quality and not quantity, sir. He used to say. Remember, this was Swami's beautiful way. He used to say it in the same tone. I want quality and not quantity, sir. He used to say.
But I think it's a
Right?
beautiful correlation, Raju. If we had discussed before that when you talk about the quantity part of it, it becomes gunas.
Correct.
And when you talk about
Recipient.
quality point of view, it is the attribute. So the moment it is sattva, rajas, and tamas, it becomes quantified and you have rupas. But before
Correct.
that is the Ishwar Tattva, which is only quality.
Quality.
So there is
That
no
quality,
quantity there.
therefore, is Purnamada Purnamidam. Purnamada
Purnamida.
Purnamidam you can explain only through quality. You can never explain through quantity. Because for quantity, it is never possible that you take out something and that what remains is full and what is taken out is full is impossible. Right?
But that is a mirage, anyways. You said it, like Bhagavan said, no? It is a mirage. So it's a Maya. So obviously
That's
the
what
Maya is it's not there. So
anything that is measurable is Maya. And the quality behind this measurability is the Parabrahma. So
is the
Artha Matra
Parabrahma.
here, right? So Matra, if it is Maya, then Ardhamatra is the quality behind this Maya.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Beautiful. Very nice.
Let's take this discussion into how Bhagwan also explains and how Bhagwan Ram also himself has explained it and giving it a correlation of how these four brothers represented the four aspects of Omkar and he has broken it down. So I think it's beautiful to look at it and then share our thoughts on that. He explains Pranava as a, the breakup, main breakup is A, U, Ma, as we say, and then Ardhamatra. So these are the four things which we normally, as a practitioner, common we would face them. And this is how the discussions also remain here. And when you look at it, Bhagwan Ram explains a sound as Vishwa, which is the most grosser and physical
Gross.
awareness. Then you have Tejas, which is little bit subtler, of course, subtler than the Vishwa, which leads to Prajna, and that Prajna is leading to Brahmananda. So, which is basically, the subtlest or the cause of it. And then he gives a correlation of brothers into it. So I'm going to just share. He says, is the representation by Lakshman, who represents Vishwarupa, and Shatrughan is Tejas, and Bharat represents Prajna, and of course, Ram is the Brahmananda as Ardhamatra. How do you
Beautiful.
look at it?
It's
Raju, you
just
want to start?
beautiful.
Yeah, sure, please, anyone.
Yeah, Raju, go ahead.
Sir, okay. And as we had discussed in earlier episode, Swami, if you take from Swami's discourses, Swami gives it as these are the exact three representations that Swami uses for referring the Jagrata, Swapna, and Sushupti. The
Correct.
states about Vishwa in the Jagrata Avastha, then Tejas, the mind that is effulgent by the light of the Atma, that Tejas, that's how it is called Tejas. The mind is
Yeah.
active in that state, which is called the Swapnavastha, the dream state. And then the Sushupti, the knowledge that you existed, that alone remains, but you have no control over, you are not aware, but you just are kind of know that you existed there. That is in some sense, the prajna alone is there. And then the one after that is a turiya, where the soul, the super self realizes, becomes aware that it is the supreme self itself. And this exactly falls in line as to what very similar with what Rama has also explained. Is calling Lakshmana, Shatrughna, Bharata, and Rama. And another a small story which makes a lot of sense is which Swami talks of often, and now it seems very relevant. We hear of that story, and I always wondered why it is so. So we hear of that story where Bharata remained for 14 years in the Nandigram, and Hanuman was tasked with the news of conveying to Bharata discreetly that Rama is approaching. I mean, he will be nearing Ayodhya next day in one more day, and Hanuman was asked to go in the guise of a Brahmin. So Hanuman is wondering why is it that he is asked to go in the guise of Brahmin. There are two questions that are bothering Hanuman that time. Why is it that he's asked to go in the guise of a Brahmin? Second, what is his way forward now? The war has come to an end. Now Rama is going to be coronated, and what is his way forward? How would he have to spend time? Now he'll not have the liberty that he had earlier with Rama. Is his physical time going to end with Rama? What is the way forward? These two questions were bothering him, and Hanuman approaches Bharata's hut, and she was expecting some royal guards to be there. He is expecting some kind of paraphernalia, but he was shocked that the hut even did not have a door. Now I've described it so beautifully that it seems he hesitates whether it is actually Bharata's hut or not. So now he's wondering how would Bharata look like? How would Bharata react of Rama's coming? So as Hanuman waits outside in the guise of a Brahmin, and there is no one coming out, and he thinks it's better to step in, and he puts his one step inside, and he as he enters in one corner, Bharata is lost in meditation of he's actually meditating on Rama. He's crying. I saw streaming tears, and looking at it, Hanuman was shocked. That is when he realizes why Rama sent him there. There, what Hanuman sees is not Bharata, but Bharata has transformed himself into Rama. So much that in that yearning for Rama, he has become the physical appearances have become Rama. And that memory goes back to Hanuman, where he, for the first time, he met Rama in the guise of a Brahmin. Now, Rama is telling him very subtly that look at Bharata. He was not with Rama for 14 years. He was physically away, but yet he has transformed himself the fire of that yearning into Rama. And Hanuman, that is when Hanuman looks at his own self and he realizes that he had been with Rama, but yet he had not achieved what Bharata has achieved. And it's a very subtle lesson that Hanuman was given, that the way forward is to seek the real Rama within. Now you have spent enough time with the physical Rama. Now start seeking the inner Rama, and you have to transform yourself into that Ramachandra. So this is that story
Beautiful.
Swami
Beautiful.
narrated. And now here, if
Beautiful.
you also see the one that actually can reflect Brahmananda is that Prajna. It is Bharata who is used as reflection of Rama. The character of Bharata is used as a reflection of Rama. It is not Lakshmana. Lakshmana's
Correct.
role is only to assist, but it is a Prajna which allows you to reflect Brahmananda or Ramachandra within you.
Correct. Beautiful. Beautiful.
Beautiful.
Actually, another
Beautiful.
dimension that you can see Lord Rama, Lakshmana was all the time with Lord Rama, right? And Shatrughna was all the time
Yes.
with Bharata. Okay, so the Vishwa, that is the uh, Jagrat world, right? We need to constantly connect with the deep, the Lord who is within, the Antaratma, the Atma Rama, right? Then and only, and while Shatrughna, which is the mind, right? Taijasa is the mind aspect, right? Should constantly be focused towards the Prajnana, which is Buddhi, right? So that's the right way. When mind is constantly focused towards the Prajnanam, what will happen to the Jagrat? Jagrat will be focused towards the Brahmananda, naturally,
Oh.
right? Very natural, no, it is. So, when we look at this explanation of Bhagavan, it is so natural that if the mind is focused towards Prajnanam, one's mind is focused towards Prajnanam, so Shatrughna going with Bharata, then Lakshmana will naturally be with Rama, right? And that is
Beautiful.
the way
Wow.
to lead life, because there's a beautiful analogy which Swami very often, in fact, one experience, I think even you would have been there, Swami once sent word to the hostel that Swami was not speaking to the boys. This used to go on during our student time. I think even Ranganath's time also, I think it happened. I'm not too sure, but earlier time it
It's
was pretty common. Swami will stop talking and stop looking at boys. So one such, I think it was in 1980, late 80s, right? And Swami was not looking and talking to boys. Then, so all boys came to Bhagwan, and we prayed to Bhagwan. Then Swami, I still remember this. It was that uh, third quadrangle we say, no? Swami came there and Swami said, see, Swami is not the center of your life. And therefore, for you all, the center is not Swami. For devotees, Swami is the center. So I'm spending more time with devotees. This statement, no, really made a lot of impact. It just got, see, this is what it means actually. The Vishwa has to be centered in the Brahmananda, which is the Atma Rama, right? This is what Lord Krishna says, Mam Anusmara Yudhyacha. Constantly think of me and continue your practices, whatever is your duty, right? Swami also says the same thing. Continuously do Namasmarana, Nitya Namasmarana, and do your activities as you want to do. So that connect of Vishwa with Brahmananda, this is what, okay, another thing that comes up is Kabir's Doha, no? That Chalti Chakki Dekh Ke, Diya Kabira Roya, right? So that
दो पार्ट
Chakki, do part
सब
unke beech, Sabat Bachana
सब
Koi, right? So there, the every grain gets grinded fully, except the grains which are close to the central rod. They get saved. So it seems the story goes that Kabir, seeing this wheat being grinded with that in that chakki, cries out, "I am also getting ground in this samsara like them." Then Nipatti Ranjana, his guru, tells him, "Don't be foolish. Go and see exactly what is happening there." So when he sees there, he finds that he doesn't realize. Then Guru tells him, "See at the center, the grains which are around the central rod, look at them. They're all safe. None of them get
crushed.
ground completely crushed, right?" So that is, I think, the same. That is the message Ramayana is giving us, that Lakshmana has to be constantly with Rama. And this will be possible when Shatrughna is with Bharata. That's another dimension, I think, which we need to understand. It will become possible then. And another dimension also we can see, for Lakshmana to be with Rama, it seems when they went into the forest, Swami writes this in Ram Katha Raswani, right? There was Lord Rama leading the way. In between was Mother Sita. And behind was Lakshmana walking, right? And so it's like Maya. So he keeps praying to Mother, it seems. Oh, Mother, please give way so that I can have the darshan of the Lord. Maya comes in between us seeing the Lord, is depicted in the way Lord Rama, Mother Sita, and Lakshmana walked into the forest. Right? So, for the Vishwa to be connected to the Brahmananda, in between comes the Maya, which is the Matra. Right? So, that Matra comes in between the way for us to see the Artha Matra. Is it not?
There was another
It's beautiful,
explanation.
really.
Wow.
Yeah, Vijay given that, the Purusharthas, Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha.
Correct.
नहीं नहीं धर्म हाँ
Correct.
धर्म अर्थ काम धर्म अर्थ
Rama
काम
is
मोक्ष.
Dharma.
So
Rama is
Lakshman
Dharma.
represent,
Is
yeah,
Artha.
Dharma is Ram, Artha is Shatrughna, Kama is Lakshman, and nahi Moksha is Ram, no? Dharma is
No,
Bharat.
no. Ramo Vigrahavan Dharma. Rama is Dharma. Artha
Okay,
is Artha has to be along with Dharma, right? and kama has to be with moksha. Naturally, now if prajnanam is Bharata, he actually is moksha. See,
Okay.
moksha kanksha is perfect. In fact, what is dharma by the Swami's definition in Dharma Vahini? Swami says what is natural is dharma, right? It is
Hmm.
if the wetness for water is dharma of water, right? The heat for fire is the dharma of fire. Okay. And what is the dharma of a human being? We are divine, inherently divine. That's what Lord Rama stands for, right? So that is dharma.
I tell you, when you listen to Bhagwan's definitions, I just want to feel like just shut up and just get lost in contemplation of this. What a phenomenal summary, eh?
A
I don't think
simple
anybody
way,
can.
yeah, it's such a simple way Swami narrates it, right? So the easy to remember also. What is natural to an individual is dharma. So, if we as human beings are able to do our actions from the perspective of our Atma and not the body, because our actual dharma is that we are divine. If we act from that level, we are dharmic. That's why Rama was Vigrahavan Dharma, because every act of his was from his Atmic source, identification of himself as the divine and not identification of himself as the body. Right?
Fantastic.
If we have to go a little more in
Now,
depth into this, there is that Yoga Vasistham. Must have heard of that, right?
yeah,
In Yoga Vasistham, the story is that Lord Rama, when he was around, means a youngster, maybe 13, 14 years of age, he stopped speaking to everyone, including his parents, it seems, and became silent. So then they trying to understand this. They try speaking to Lord Rama. He doesn't speak. He's all the time silent, right? Then Vasistha, they call the Kula Guru Vasistha, and Vasistha then has a discussion with Lord Rama. That's when the whole discussion is on the Atma, what the individual is actually, right? A beautiful statement there. I think we should remember. That's a very powerful statement which caught my attention in Yoga Vasistham. Lord Rama says, "What is this life, oh, a sage? Childhood, you are in the control of others. They tell you do this, you do that, you do this, you do that, right? And the childhood goes that way. Once a person becomes a youth, the desires determine and control the person. As per the desires, he keeps dancing. So that's also not under our, means he's not under control of himself. Then comes the middle age, the requirements of the family keep pushing him to act, right? So he's again not under control. Come the old age, the disease takes charge and it determines what he should be doing. So what is this whole life all the time in the control of another's, right? We don't have any control for ourselves. Why should we lead this life? Then Sage Vasistha says, Lord Rama, what you have said is perfectly right. But then Lord Rama also says, all this is again determined by karma. So as per karma, one's life is determined. So what is the whole purpose and meaning of this whole life? Then beautiful statement says Vasistha says, Lord Rama, with respect to body and external life, karma is what determines one's life. Like Swami says, no, adichetu, idichetu, inka nenno chetane. But that poem is there, no, beautiful
Ugal
poem.
Walla. Yes, sir. Ugal Walla.
You don't you feel you will do this, you will do this that, and so many things you will dream, but what you have come, you will actually do only that. So this is all true with respect to the beautiful part. There is, says Vasistha says, whatever you determine to do in a physical level is all controlled to a very large extent by your karma. But remember, O Rama, if you want to realize yourself, there's no karma. You can realize yourself this moment. What a powerful statement. No, we feel for spiritual life, karma holds us back, but the reality is karma doesn't affect if one wants to go into a spiritual reality. What a beautiful statement, no? I never realized this till I read it there. So, for a spiritual life, if we want to realize ourselves, nothing stops. And then you now correlate that with sage Ramana Maharishi's life or Ramakrishna Paramahamsa's life. They had all kinds of diseases of the body, right? That was as per the karma of the body. But they became realized souls. For their realization that karma didn't come in the way. What a beautiful
It's quite
insight.
powerful.
Very
Raji,
powerful.
you want to read that poem which Anil brother is saying?
Adi chetu, idi chetu, Swami says,
This
no?
is Swami's poem, which is yes. అది చేతు ఇది చేతు ఇంకెన్నియో చేతు ననుచు ఊహలు అల్లి అలసిపోకు ఏ విత్తనంలో నాటి ఇచ్చుయుంటివో ఆ ఫలములే మీకు అందుచు.
Correct.
So sweet.
అది చేతు ఇది చేతు ఇంకెన్నియో చేతు అనొచ్చు. So do not be under the assumption that you will do this, you will do that, and do not get tired అనొచ్చు. ఊహలు అల్లి అలసిపోకు. Do not get tired of mere imagination. ఏ విత్తనములు నాటి ఇచ్చి ఉంటివో, whatever seeds that have sown, they have led you here. ఆ ఫలంలే నీకు అందుచుండు. The fruits of those seeds only will come to you.
Beautiful, no?
Okay, brother. Let's move forward. And I think the next phase I would like to, there are some questions that we need to really think about and contemplate to find the, as Bhagavan says, everything is connected to Atman. First question, why was this knowledge bestowed on Sri Hanuman? Because see, the recipient is very important. Like if you recall, Bhagavan has also mentioned about why Arjuna was chosen. When somebody said Yudhishthira was supposed to be Dharmaraj, and why was he not given and Arjun was given? And Swami said the difference between Paschatap and Purahatap related to Arjun's getting it. So imagine what a summation which Bhagavan conveys, which also shows us that for every knowledge, even though it is meant for the world, a proper recipient is required. And that recipient must be ready and that ready for accepting that and receiving it. So it's very important to contemplate on why was Sri Hanuman bestowed this knowledge. So Anil, let's start this.
Lord Hanuman is the epitome of all knowledge. He has been described as the one who has learned every knowledge that is available in all the three worlds from none other than Sun God. Right? Then he was also the Nava Vyakarana Vetta. Right? And he was also, because of these, his vak was perfect in his vak. The way he spoke, the way he pronounced, everything was to the perfection. Right? And a great sadhaka. From the time he saw Lord Rama, the Rama Nama never left his conscious mind. Right? So these are all one aspect of it. The other aspect, if you see, who is Lord Hanuman? He is actually, how pure is he? If we have to understand, they say Hanuman can also be the form of Hanuman. Is also that Hanuman was himself the fire god. Why is he correlated to fire god? Because if we say Akashat Vayuhu, Vayor Agnihi, Agne Apaha, Adbhya Prithvi. Right? So who is the son of Vayu? Akashat Vayuhu. Vayor Agnihi. Right? Who is the son of Vayu? Agni. And Lord Hanuman is the son of Vayu, right? So he's Agni Swarupa. And another proof for this is he himself says,
he's the originator of Agni, not Agni. So he's like originator of Agni then. Oh my God.
correct. But he himself says this when he has this when he tells Mother Sita is very, very, very dejected, right? Seeing her condition, Lord Hanuman says, "Oh mother, don't be so." And she says, "I cannot live more than even a month. Though 2 months have been given, I can't live more than a month." Then Lord Hanuman says, "Mother, don't worry. If it's the you should not be distressed like this. If you want this moment, you sit on my back, and I'll take you to the presence of Lord Rama, and make you sit next to Lord Rama." Like, then he gives the analogy, like the fire god takes the prayers and makes them reach the devatas.
Mm.
He gives that
Yes.
same, it comes in Valmiki Ramayana. He gives that statement. Like, it means in a sense he's identifying himself. I am the fire god. I can deliver you to the divine this very moment. Right? So in other words, and also he is described as the Vaksvarupa. Shiva, he is actually Rudravatar, right? Shiva avatar. And Rudra is also described as Vak. In Rudram it comes, right? He is described as Vak. In the very first Anuvakam, we chant that Rudra is Shive Navachasatva Girishacha Vadamasi. It is actually Lord Shiva who is in the form of Vak, may help us in speaking sweetly and softly. That's one meaning that we can take out of that line. In fact, another beautiful thing we have to recall here, which really
I would like you
fascinated.
to I would like to just sorry to interrupt. I wanted to just convey for the audience, vak, we are using the word vak, that is Sanskrit word which relates to speech. Just to
Speech,
keep in
yes.
mind because we have audience from across, so they will get
Yeah,
confused.
yeah. In
We
fact,
are
one
sorry
very
because we
important.
tend to use these
Yeah,
words.
yeah.
We
No,
tend
no,
to
I
use
just
the
want
words
to
because we.
one very unusual thing that we should remember here, the 9 code of conduct that Swami has given for every devotee, right? The most fascinating thing is every other code of conduct except for one all relate to spiritual activity with respect to sitting and doing dhyanam, telling suprabhatam, attending balvikas, going for bhajans, nagar sangeetan. So means it's some way connected to organization or a physical activity. There's only one statement which actually stands out in this whole thing as odd man out, right? Odd thing out, and that is speak softly and
Speak
sweetly.
lovingly.
That's one of the code of conduct. Now, why should Swami include this? If you see, this is like a among all the 9, no, this alone is something to do with the individual, purely the individual, with no connect with anything else. And it is, if you look at it from our physical perspective, it's not a spiritual activity. It's not like you chant Suprabhatam, you do Dhyanam. It doesn't come under that category, right? It's a, you talk softly and sweetly. How that is where the very important part comes. Speech is so very, very important for human beings. And Lord Hanuman was the epitome of perfection in this speech. Lord Hanuman was the Agniswarupa. Lord Hanuman was the Nava Vyakarana Veta. He could understand all this because he understood Shabda in its totality. He was, this is my opinion, he was ideally suited to understand Omkara. One who has perfected the sound can then dive deep into the depths of sound, right? So, therefore, who else can be better than Lord Hanuman being the recipient of this knowledge of Omkara? Right?
See,
Another
since you
perspective,
mentioned
a
you
lighter
mentioned it,
perspective. Last one, a lighter
yeah.
perspective. I think Lord Shiva is very fond of listening to Omkar, the meaning of Omkar. It seems there's a very famous, every one of us know, Lord Subramanya taught the meaning of Omkaram to Lord Shiva. You know this, no? Lord Subramanya, he
Isn't it
made.
reverse order?
No, and I think it didn't satisfy Lord Shiva. So he took Hanuman's avatar and again wanted to learn more about Omkar or get the same thing repeated. So he sat with Lord Rama. and heard the whole thing once again. I think he's so fond of listening about
See,
Omkar.
when you said no that Hanuman is Vayu Swarupa, and we have been hearing it, we know it from childhood, but it
Vayuputra.
doesn't, yeah, but it doesn't hit you that hard when it comes to certain discussion in this kind of forums, when it just makes it like a eureka moment, you know. And when you look at it, the creation journey that you are talking about, Vayu has originated from where?
Omkaram.
From the
Shabda.
space, from the
Akasha.
Shabda, which is Akasha. So for Hanuman to evolve, he needs to go and cross that barrier. So he is now ready for Omkar. Otherwise, how will he evolve?
Correct.
So the journey of Hanuman was, I think, there was an important milestone to be crossed by Hanuman in that level for
Correct.
Vayu to get into Akasha and cross it.
Yeah.
So he can reach Para. So
And
he has to cross Omkar to reach Para. It's a fantastic thought. Like, you know, I thank you, Brother Anil, for bringing this up. We hear it, but, you know, it doesn't hit you that hard sometimes. Raju, you want to add something for
just
this beautiful session? Out of it?
yes, just to add another dimension to the beautiful points that sir has mentioned. Swami in one of the interaction discourse, Swami he says about the Arjuna, the Monday prior to being given Gita. Swami beautifully narrates that Krishna takes him out for a walk in the night, and he sees, all of us know the story. He sees a bird, and he says that's actually a crow, and Arjuna says, yes my lord, it is crow. Then Krishna tells him, no, that's actually a cuckoo. He says, yes my lord, it is cuckoo. A pigeon, no, it's not cuckoo, it's a pigeon. He says, yes my lord, it's pigeon. Then Krishna asks him, what is it, don't you have your own independent evaluation? So that's when Arjuna falls at Krishna's feet and says, the Sanskrit line Swami quotes, he says, I have given up myself. This cup has emptied itself so that it can be filled with you. And Krishna, then Swami, in the discourse, Swami adds it. He says, Krishna blesses Arjuna. And the discourse goes that the next line Swami says, and next day, and thus next day, Krishna gives the Gita to Arjuna, which means that the cup is being filled, that empty cup is being filled by the Lord, because the cup is now ready to receive it's in all its pristine essence. And one day, uh, one day before arrival of Shuka, our hero Parikshit was cursed. He was cursed, and he has only 7 days to live. And that evening, Shuka will arrive. That morn. So there's another beautiful episode in Bhagavata where uh, will begin to receive the essence of Krishna, or in the form of Bhagavata through Shuka Maharshi. Parikshit will begin to receive. Shuka is slated to arrive in the evening, and the cup called Parikshit has to be readied so that the essence of Krishna has to be poured. And who walks in? That is when Uddhava walks in. Uddhava, who has left after Krishna's departure, now he has become a mendicant. He is going all around the country. He is now the self-realized. He's almost on the borders of that losing individual consciousness into divine self. So he walks in and he prepares a cup called Parikshit to receive that immortal nectar of essence called Bhagavatam. And how does it happen? Uddhava begins to talk to Parikshit about. First, he talks about his curse. He says, I have heard. Be ready." And slowly he begins to take him as to what actually is the real curse. He explains to him his own life as to how he came as a normal Gopala and lived with Krishna, and he realized that Krishna is everywhere. The Krishna form might have left, but that Krishna is everywhere. And it happens that we're actually done a drama also. Finally, it happens that Uddhava begins to see Krishna all around Parikshit in that same court, and he sees Krishna that he loses himself, and he runs away like a madcap. Apparently to the world it's actually madcap, but Parikshit realizes the deeper message that Uddhava has emptied himself so much that he's actually seeing only Krishna everywhere. And only after that cleaning of the individual self called Parikshit, that is when Shuka walks in, and Shuka fills this cup called Parikshit with the essence of Krishna in the form of Bhagavatam. And a few days, Swami and the discourse Swami gives, I'm assuming that it must be probably before few days before this Gita was given by to Hanuman. He says Rama has now kind of turned inward, distant after Sita left and the three mothers passed away. But that morning, Rama, we've shown this in one of the dramas. Rama has become very active. He has become very excited because he apparently has done a painting, and he wanted it to be shown to all the brothers, but especially to Hanuman. He wanted Hanuman to see it and appreciate it. So there was unusual flurry in the royal chamber of Rama. Rama is very excited. Rama wants everyone to come in, and Lakshmana and Bharata are very happy that Rama is speaking after. I mean, he's acting so excited after long. So they send a word for Hanuman. Hanuman usually goes for a walk in the morning, so he comes running. Everybody dash into the royal chamber of Rama, and Rama tells Hanuman, just like Swami would say that I have sat on the entire night and read letters. In the same manner, Rama tells Hanuman that I have sat the entire night and did this painting for all of you. And then he pulls open that cover, and there in the painting, it is that famous coronation painting where Rama and Sita are seated, and all the three brothers are standing around. Hanuman is seated at the feet, and there are many onlookers. Vibhishana, Shatrughna, sorry, were Sugriva, Vibhishana, and others are folding their hands, and there are thousands of onlookers on the other side. But only unique point about the painting was this, that everybody has their garments, but all their faces was Rama. It was Rama sitting in the form, the Rama who is sitting in the form of Rama. Sita is sitting in the form of the Sita garments are there, but the face is of Rama. It is Rama in the form of Lakshmana standing and doing namaskar. It is Rama in the form of Bharata waving that those things as of a kingly paraphernalia, and it is Rama sitting in the form of Hanuman and doing Padseva, and it is Rama standing in the form of Sugriva and doing namaskar, and the form of Vibhishana doing namaskar. And it hits Hanuman so hard that Rama is essentially driving home the point that even though they're actually all of them are standing and sitting and appearing in different forms, actually it is only Rama who is sitting, Rama who is talking, and Rama is being coordinated. It is only Rama all around, and there is nothing else. The last chip of that individual self of Hanuman is now chipped away, and that cup now is ready to receive that divine essence of the supreme knowledge. And that's when I think the divine essence is now being poured into. And there are only two people who receive Gita from Rama. It is Rama, the one who is it is from Rama. It is Hanuman who is cleansed of this individuality, and other one is Lakshmana. We know the legendary individual less of Lakshmana. He has dissolved himself into Rama, and only these two people are slated to receive Gita from Rama. I think that is one another dimension that Hanuman is chosen to be the recipient.
Beautiful, beautiful. And if we correlate this, no, to our earlier Vishwa is Lakshmana, right? The summation of life is what? Vishwa becoming Brahmananda. Vishwa becoming Brahmananda, is it not?
Wow.
The Jagrat becoming Rama everywhere is a summation, right? So I think that is where
Beautiful, yeah.
that's why Lakshmana is Vishwa, is it not? I think Raju brother, you need to quote here that Emi leni burralona emaina cherchavachu ememo nindi unna talaburra
Yes, sir.
that one you quote here, because that's the perfect thing that
I'll
Swami
get.
says. This
Yes.
the vessel has to be empty. Point Swami very often used to quote this poem. How can I fill Sukruta
Yes.
into you? You fill yourself with all kinds of things. Make yourself empty. Then I'll fill with Sukruta, Swami used to say. And there's a very beautiful poem, very often Swami used to
Yes.
quote.
Yes. I've kept in this thing. ఏమి లేని
Yeah.
బుర్రలోన ఏమైమనొచ్చు చేర్చవచ్చు ఏమేమో నిండియున్న బుర్ర నింప వీలు కాదు కలిబోదలు నిండియున్న తల బుర్రది ఖాళీ అగున తల బుర్రది ఖాళీ కాక ఇలా సుకృతంబు నింపగున.
Correct. So that's the point where the person has to become empty for the
Yes.
divine essence to be filled.
Lovely. I think these gems should be preserved, shared. I'm sure people will enjoy it. I'm just leaving it in the chat for people who can read Telugu. They can look at it like that. So here is like,
Yeah.
excellent. Okay, let's continue the second question. I think that is another interesting aspect of this, the significance of vachan, the importance of giving word. Uh, See, as we have seen, Omkar itself represents the word, the sound. And then we have Ram who represented the importance of pledge. In fact, the whole Raghukul Reet, that phrase is very popular with everybody. Raghukul Reet sada chali aaye, prana jai par vachan na jai. So everybody quotes this and they understand it from a literal pledge. If you give it to something, it should be, followed through. And that is what the whole lineage of Ram represented. But while going through Omkar, we see a different dimension of this Shabda or Vachan. So let us look at this also. So let me open the floor again. So what do we look at it as Vachan? And wherein even Bhagwan Baba's time also we have seen that he was very particular about the word. And he says that is what you represent. And if you go back on your word, then you don't even deserve to be a being. So he
Human.
went on to even abuse to that extent that, hey, if you say something, you must follow through. So that is the importance he has given for Vachanam. How do you look at it?
I think we already discussed this. There's the most critical and most important aspect of the whole of Ramayana. And even Swami, very often, as you mentioned, used to give tremendous significance to word. And word represents the way, in fact, the person's character or behavior can be deduced from the way the person speaks, right? So it's the speech is an indication of an individual. First and foremost, at the level of the mind itself, speech is an indication of the individual, right? We go deeper. Speech comes from mind, right? And we already discussed this para, pashyanti, madhyama, and vaikari. So the word is directly related to para, which is the supreme being, right? So this direct correlation of para to the word, which is the vyavharika, vaikari, right, are, in fact, Swami puts it as great grandson of Atma. And sometimes Swami used to mix mind and buddhi together and say, is the grandson of Atma. Atma's son is mind and buddhi together, right? And son of the mind is Vachan. So Vachan or word is the grandson or great grandson of Atma. And therefore it has to reflect the nature of Atman. This is where Swami very often says, Manas ekam, Vachas ekam, Karmanyekam, Mahatmanam. Right? In fact, this unity in thought, word, and deed is the one. Swami, whenever he used to speak about this, Swami very often used to say the proper study of mankind is man. I think all of us remember that very powerful statement of Bhagwan. So this actually
Hmm.
correlates to the Jantunam Narajanma Durlabham. The reason is actually when we really look at the uniqueness of a human being, what differentiates a human from an animal? And to this utter surprise, we did a very detailed thing in awareness class in Bhakti. And what is stunning is the first differentiation is the opposable thumb. We say the thumb, in our hand, right, is opposable. It seems right till almost the chimpanzee this is connected like this. It's not free. Opposable thumb means the
Hmm.
thumb being completely free. Okay, this is there only for human. The human beings, the thumb being free is not as free as for a human being compared to any other animal, including our so-called immediate predecessor, who is a chimpanzee. Right? Thumb is not so highly opposable. Okay, the second difference, if you see, is the sound, the speech. The ability to speak is unique to human being. It's not given to any other. They also make sounds, but not as diverse as the sounds that we can produce. Right? Second, what is the third one? This is deep down. We went into anatomy and everything and did a good deep dive. We found that it's a very fascinating thing. In fact, that it seems for the neural networks in the brain, no, are involved in maintaining the homeostasis. What's homeostasis? The maintaining the temperature, humidity of the body as per the environment, as per the environmental changes. No, constantly body has to adjust itself to maintain the body temperature, to maintain the oxygen levels, all this, right? So, and for all that, no, the neural networks are used extensively. And few of the I have even the quotes by the biologists, till almost till chimpanzee, 60 to 80%, in lower animals 80 to 90%, or maybe even 95% of the neural networks are used to maintain homeostasis. come
Wow.
human come human, there has been a quantum leap. That's where some this approach says that human is not a natural progression from chimpanzee to human. It is designed by the divine. A quantum leap has been done. For a human being, no, only 3 to 5% of our neural network is used in homeostasis.
Wow.
Rest of the
Wow. Wow.
95% plus is left free. For what? For thinking. That's where the amount
Wow.
of thinking that a human can do, no other animal can do. Okay.
Wow.
Now put these three things together, we are absolutely zapped. It actually comes to thought, word, and deed. Because of the hand, it is the deed, right? Because of the neural networks, is the thought and word. Only these differentiate us from an animal. So if we do
Boom.
not use these three properly, we are not utilizing our blessing of being a human being. So utilizing these three properly means unity in thought, word, and deed. Right? So therefore Vachan becomes important,
Beautiful.
because it is the unity. It is that continuation has to be there between the thought, and thought is actually originating in the para, right? So that para and thought has to be connected. That is dharma. And that thought has to be connected to the word, which is Vaikari finally, right? So therefore, Vachan takes us backward journey, and helps us in that unity. So if you have that unity alone, we can become Mahatmas. And we would have utilized the opportunity of this blessing of human being only and only if we have unity of these three. Because these are the only three things which differentiate us from animal. And therefore,
Beautiful.
unity of these three is a must for us.
See, when you say this, it also answers another question that people say, no, even the criminals have unity of thought, word, and deed because they think, they act, and they speak the same thing and they do it, execution.
No, 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 no,
But
no.
with your explanation, it makes very beautiful that the connect of thought, word, and deed goes to para. So it
Correct,
has to be in alignment with dharma to
correct,
make it unified
Purity.
and to find Mahatma. So
correct.
beautiful explanation.
The reason is, no, there the thought is not a pure thought, it's a guilt ridden thought, because connect with para has been snapped. So it's a guilt
Snapped,
ridden
yes.
thought. So it's a guilt ridden thought. And everything has stemmed from a guilt ridden thought, and therefore it will not be. See,
It is not
anyone,
dharma. Yeah, it is not dharmic, so it is not unity of thought, word, and deed.
correct.
Fantastic. Beautiful.
And
Beautiful.
that's That's where that para onwards. See, the thought here is only madhyama, right? So para pashyanti have to be connected to madhyama for madhyama to be translated
And
to
now,
word.
see that shlok has now a new meaning for me. You know, Satya Vachanam Ekam, what is it?
Which one?
Satyam vada
Satyam
dharma.
Ek, nahi, Vachanam Ekam, Karmanyekam Mahatmanam.
Manasekam vachan.
Manasekam, sorry, Manasekam
Karmanyekam.
Vachanamekam Karmanyekam Mahatmanam.
Yes.
Manas
Manas.
Anyat Karman Anyat Vachanam Anyat
Vachan.
Bratmanam.
Correct.
So now that has become a new meaning now, because the whole thing gets connected to para, which is dharma, and that
Correct.
is why it is beautiful.
And that
So
is where that is
mm,
where Vedamata, the fundamental thing that is taught in Sikshavalli, Satyam Vada Dharmanchara. So speak the truth is because the truth is only when we have that unity, speak the truth comes
it's
in.
correct.
And that is
So
where
look at
actually I was just thinking of this. Another thing that's really came as a flash, and I was so means I did not have words. Swami, the thing with Bhagwan is so natural and casual that we miss what all he has done are so profound. See, Bhagwan said he set up Satyasai Institute of Higher Learning more for teaching the Atma Vidya than teaching normal Vidya. And see, therefore, the motto that Swami has created, Satyam Vada Dharmanchara. How closely connected these two are. Only now I'm realizing below in our symbol, university symbol, what comes below is Satyam Vada Dharmanchara. Why did Swami pick this? We will think it sounds good and therefore Swami has picked it, right? But actually see the deep significance for Atmic knowledge, these are the ones
problem,
that
yeah, I think the
we take
problem
it
is
for
that we
lightly.
get we
Ah,
get trapped with the Vyavaharik Satyam so
ah.
much
And
that
not only
we
that,
don't want to
take
even
things lightly,
cross.
very commonly known. And therefore, Swami would have picked it. Very commonly known, right? Satyavada Dharmanjara is known everywhere, right? So, okay, another one Swami has put. But actually, the way it correlates to see the unity in Swami's thought, word, and deed is so perfect. He said the university has been set up for Atmic Vidya, right? And therefore, the motto is he's not picked up any motto. There are so many from Vedas you can pick up, right? Asatoma Sadgamaya also can be written. Anything can be written. But Swami picked Satyam Vada Dharmachara. Now see the connect. This is
Beautiful.
the way for Atmic knowledge.
See that I think I was
Yeah.
talking to Raju about it, and it makes so much of sense when you look at this Vachan now from that para aspect,
Yeah.
and you
Hmm.
realize that as an avatar, he represented that word. He did not speak the word. He
Correct.
represented it. So whatever came out was Satyam.
Correct.
So because he's from that state, now because there's another thought, some people had asked this question, like when Krishna said it's a crow, like Raju was mentioning, Arjun said yes, it is a crow, and then he said, "Hey, foolish, he's not crow, it's a peacock." He said yes, it is a peacock. So was Krishna speaking a truth or a lie? There's a question. But now when you look at this thought, that from Para's perspective, Krishna at that very moment was truth and remains to be truth every second of the moment. So when he
Correct.
utters a word, it becomes the truth at that moment.
Pashyanti. It becomes Pashyanti immediately. Right?
Pashyanti. It is
Reality.
right Pashyanti.
Para becomes
So
Pashyanti. The very next. Right?
next
Correct.
moment it is Pashyanti. So he is again truth.
Correct.
So, but from our perspective, we are stuck with the, Vyavaharik Satyam. So we get trapped in this vision that we are not following the truth. We are following our impression of the shadow.
Correct.
And hence we are trying to judge the para with our skewed and messed up. Wow.
Correct.
So when Bhagwan says something and he changes the statement next moment, we think that, oh, Swami has not said it right. But actually he's talking something different. He is speaking the truth every moment because he comes from the para state
Correct.
and he can justify it every moment. Wow. I hope
That's the
everybody's
reason.
enjoying.
Beautiful.
Really, there's so much. Means when we started thinking about this, Satyam Vada Dharmanchara has become so important now. I'm realizing it's so very, very, very. I think it's
So if
of
you
greatest
really look at
importance
it,
that we give that attention to our word, attention to the the word being the truth.
so if you look at it, you know that pran jai par vachan na jai and all that, it's my word and all that. It's something like I feel it's so cheap now that Ram had to come down to our level to say that, hey, I mean my word. Actually, he is the word. He doesn't need to say that I pledged or I promise you. So when
See,
Swami comes and says,
actually,
Bhagwan says, I promise that I'll take care of you, it is like for our sake, he's talking to a kindergarten child and saying, Papa loves you, dad, child. The mother loves you. She doesn't have to say it because mother is nothing but love. So here the Lord has to say that, oh child, I promise that I will not leave you. Is like, oh my God, we have dragged him down to that level. That poor fellow has to say that to us. Whereas he doesn't need to. He represents that.
correct. And
Fantastic.
if you really see, as you are saying, I just realized pran jaye but vachana na jaye. When you said no, pran is pran is what? Para.
Is Vachana.
From the prana shakti comes, right? And vachan is coming from para only. So both are not, they are two different words for the same thing. Pran and vachan are not two different. Pran is vachan, vachan is pran. Therefore, pran jaye par vachana na jaye doesn't exist. If pran goes, vachan goes. If vachan goes, pran goes. Because both are same.
No, so that's why I said it is like a kindergarten level. You have to come down and say, ah, ma is oh man. Ultimately, there is no ma. It is all same. It is all one. It is beyond. Wow. Raju, you have been enjoying. I can see your smile, but share something, your thoughts.
I was just to put it in other words, like the way discussed. Uh, so we have the three stages where you have that in para or the supreme self. There is that vibration and that supreme consciousness, and there is that in between that filter called mind, and then the sound express itself as an utterance, as a word. Now if you have to draw this the process, that consciousness is filtered, is passing through that filters of mind and expressing itself as word, as a sound. Now in the case of say human normal lives who or normal minds which have been affected, the problem with this mind is that this mind is now corrupted with like and dislike, with raga dvesha and past and future. It is dwelling either in past or in future, or it is also bound by the like and dislike. So with these corruptions,
Mala,
the
and
mind
Avarna.
itself, that filter. Yes, Mala Vikshepa Avarna essentially. So these three trouble the mind. So the filtration process of that consciousness passing through this corrupted filter, the output is also equally or rather far corrupted
Distorted.
than what actually it should be. So it's essentially distorted, completely distorted. So essentially when someone like me, when I speak, that consciousness is flowing through this problematic filter, and the word that is emerging is completely distorted. But the issue with here is with Ramachandra. He is the supreme consciousness who is, and or our Lord or Swami in other sense, they have no problem with the corruption of the mind. Their mind is actually a reflection of the consciousness. There is nothing that actually
There's no mind,
loses
in
in
fact.
the, there's no mind, if you have to use the word. There's no translation loss. So when the consciousness, when word comes out, what is actually coming out is a pure consciousness. The essence of Rama is his word. So that's why
Correct.
in Gita we have this statement called the word is with God and word is God. So when
Bible.
Rama gives a
Bible also
word,
says.
Rama is Bible. When Rama gives a word, he's not giving a word, but he's actually giving his own self. So
Correct.
that is why
This is where
I
this is
think
where in
there's no need for Rama to promise.
yes, this is where no the same
Good.
thing in Chandogya Upanishad, Sage Yajnavalkya tells no that Vachalambanam Visheshanam Vikaro Namadheya means no expression is perfect expression, articulation of the thought. Every expression is a distorted form of thought. What a statement, no, it
Wow.
is. No
Wow.
expression is perfect translate, perfect reflection of thought. Every expression is a distorted form of thought. This is perfect reflection of thought only for Bhagwan, Lord Rama, Lord Krishna. But for all others, it is a distorted form of thought. What finally comes out is distorted form of what actually we are thinking. That is the
You
whole
know,
problem.
I'm recalling, it's a little off topic. Pandit Bhimsen Joshi ji, he had come once for some program, and you know that he was a great devotee of Bhagwan. And when Bhagwan allows them to perform in some major function, unfortunately they don't get that time to warm up. And a personal persona like Bhimsen Joshi Sahab, he requires half an hour to warm up, and he would sing. Unfortunately, he had prepared to sing Rag Deepak, and Rag Deepak ya Rag Megh, something like he was trying to sing that, and the organizers cut it short. So before he could culminate, he had to cut it off. So and it was he was feeling bad. So he came out of the stage and he went into the green room and started crying. He was literally sobbing. And surprised to him and everybody, Bhagwan left the audience and came to him in the green room and suddenly patted from him back and said, Bhim, why are you crying? And Bhim saw Swami and he fell at his feet and said, Bhagwan, I'm so sorry. I have insulted the raga today. So Bhagwan said, Kyun? Why do you think like that? He said, Bhagwan, as you know, when we start this raga, I must complete the rag and I must offer it as best as I can. But I have to stop in the middle, and I feel that I have insulted, I have really disrespected the rag today, and I am feeling very miserable. Bhagwan laughed and he said, Bhim, you didn't even sing Rag Deepak. So how can you disrespect it? So Bhimsen got surprised and he looked at him and said, Panditji said, Swami, what do you mean? For ages we have been singing this as Rag. And Bhagwan said, no, the original Rag starts from down. Only two people could sing in the past. One was, Tansen, and another name, Bhagwan said, I'm forgetting the name. There were two people who could attempt it and who sang it originally. After that, it got diluted, and today what you are singing is not, the sound must come differently. And Bhagwan, it seems, one
Wow.
boy who was present there, he told me, Bhagwan sang the starting of Rag. It
Wow.
was like a rumbling sound from his stomach. Bhim
Wow.
Singh Ji Pandit Ji heard this and he fell at his feet. And from there, Bhim Singh Ji created another rag, it seems, afterwards.
Wow.
But that was a blessing only, as you said, no, when the vessel is empty, the knowledge comes. So at that moment, Bhim Singh Joshi was, I would say, Panditji had become ready for receiving the rag. So
Beautiful.
Bhagwan gave. So when you are telling me all that, no, Vachanam, see
Wow.
which level we are talking, we don't even know.
Yeah, yeah.
We are
Can't even
fighting for something very,
trivial.
actually, when we say Vaikhari, I think we are the corruption of Vaikhari also. So I don't know which world we are
Correct.
in.
Yeah, correct.
I don't know. So when you're talking about Satyam, brother Anil, so you had, given this, let us look at it. Satyam also has got these three dimensions as people are talking about it. So why don't you tell about this?
Yeah, these are the three levels which Swami himself spoke. This was, see, this comes in so many Vedic chantings. For example, all of us know Ganpat Atharva Shesham, right? Ritam Vachmi, Satyam
Yes.
Vachmi, we say, right? So, what is Ritam? What is Satyam, right? It also comes in Shanno Mitra Sham Varunah, Shanno Bhavat Yama, Sham Na Indro Brahaspati, Sham No Vishnurukramaha, Namo Brahmane, Namaste Vayo, Tvameva Pratyaksham Brahmasi, Tvameva Pratyaksham Brahma Vadishyami, Ritam Vadishyami, Satyam Vadishyami, Tanmamavatu, right? Tadvaktaramavatu avatu mam avatu vaktaram om shanti shanti shanti. So it comes in so many places in Vedam. And Swami actually explained this in his discourse when he was speaking about the Vijnanamaya Kosha. In one of Anandavalli, Swami gave a discourse on how a person reaches Vijnanam, and Swami quoted Anandavalli. There it comes as Tasya Shraddhair Vashirah Rutam Dakshinah Pakshah Satyamuttarah Pakshah Yoga Atma Mahapucham Pratishta Tadapyesha Sloko Bhavati. You can reach the Vijnanamaya Kosha only if you have Tasya Shraddhair Vashirah Rutam Dakshina Paksha Satyamuttara Paksha Yoga Atma Mahapucham Pratishtha. Means Swami gave the analogy that you imagine this to be like a bird. The cirrus is Tasya Shraddhair Vashiraha. Shraddha is the cirrus,
Shraddha.
right?
Head,
Shraddha,
head.
head, right? And Rutam Dakshina Paksha, one of the wing is Rutam. Satyamuttarah Pakshaha, second wing is Satyam. Yoga Atma, body is the yoga. Mahapucham Pratishta, tail is the Mahattattvam. So if you are able to climb the bird of this description, you will reach the Vijnanamaya Kosha. And what happens in Vijnanamaya Kosha? It's beautiful. Vijnanam yajnam tanute karmani tanute picha. It's beautiful there. But then no, while describing this, Swami gave this difference of what is difference between Satyam and Ritam. Satyam is Trikala Bhadyam Satyam. That which does not change in past, present, and future is Satyam. And what is Ritam? That which is spoken with the unity of thought, word, and deed. Means
So
in
again, it
the
is related to Satyam only.
it's related to Satyam, but this becomes a little more Vyavaharikam, right?
Vyavaharik, yes.
And in Nizam, it is Vyavaharika Satyam, another way of translating. In Telugu, we say Nizam, means fact. If we have to translate it into English, it's fact. Fact is we are wearing white shirt today. It's a fact, right? It is not Trikala Bhadyam. This is not something that does not change in three phases of time, right? It's only a Nijam. But I don't need to say I'm wearing a shirt with a thought, unity of thought, word, and deed, right? I don't need to totally believe in this when I need to say that I am wearing white shirt, right?
Because you can be colorblind. No, we can be
Yeah,
colorblind to see.
correct. So therefore, unity and thought, word, and deed is rhythm. So I am saying it when in all these things, when we now correlate the Vedic statements, rhythm vachmi, satyam vachmi, when I am saying no in Ganapata Shirsham, I am saying, Lord, you are everything. And then I say, I am saying it with total faith with unity of thought, word, and deed. Total faith I am saying. And what am I saying? I am saying the actual eternal truth that you are everything, right? So that meaning actually becomes very powerful when we chant, because okay, I'll chant it so that we'll know where it comes. Om Namaste Ganapataye Tvameva Pratyaksham Tattvamasi Tvameva Kevalam Kartasi Tvameva Kevalam Dhartasi Tvameva Kevalam Bhartasi Tvameva Sarvam Khalvedam Brahmasi Tvam Sakshadatmasi Nityam Ritam Vachmi Satyam Vachmi. You are everything I have said. And have I stopped there? I'll say, no, no, no. I'm saying it with total confidence, total unity of thought, word, and deed. I mean what I'm saying. That's what is Ritam Vachmi. And what am I saying? That which is the eternal truth. Satyam Vachmi. Right? So that is the difference between Satyam and Ritam. And Nijam is Vyavaharikam. Means it is only a temporary truth. It keeps changing.
So
So
can you imagine, like we are fighting to a whole, everybody tries to be proud that I speak the truth is actually Nijam. It is
Nijam,
not even Ritam.
correct. You have to move from Nizam to Rhythm,
Ritam
and
at
from
least.
yes, Rhythm at least, and from Rhythm then we can move back to Satyam.
Wow. See, I wanted to give another dimension to this conversation. Raju, you can bring it in. You remember we were talking about the vibrational part of Omkar, and I'm sure scientifically you all can explain better. I believe
Yes.
the whole frequency is measured at 432 hertz.
Yes.
That is the measurement. Unfortunately, I believe during the World War time, the frequency was changed to create different techniques of fighting, and then the whole thing was tuned at 440 hertz, and on which the musical instruments are tuned today. Originally, it was at 432 hertz. And this experience happened to one of our brothers. I can name him, he's Sonam. And we know all him that he's a singer and a musician, composed many bhajans by Bhagwan's grace. One day he shared this beautiful story to me. He said, when Swami used to sing, Sonam would always find it difficult for giving Shruti to Swami because the Shruti of Bhagwan did not match the Shruti of harmonium.
Wow.
So many times Sonam said that he was trying to play and he was thinking that maybe Bhagwan is not able to listen to harmonium because of the crowd. So he would play harder. So Swami can hear and match the Shruti with harmonium. But he always found that Shruti was always slightly off the harmonium. And he would sing. So this disturbed Sonam for some time that Swami is not, and he wanted to play properly so that Swami can hear it. So he kept blowing it harder and harder. And then later on, when he went back and he was doing some work, that time he realized they had recorded Bhagwan's voice and they measured it. Bhagwan's voice was at 432 hertz,
Wow.
which is the frequency of Omkar. So that is why if you listen to Bhagwan's voice uninterrupted, it can bring you to a beautiful, calming, peaceful bliss. Because his voice is a therapeutic. And we as a devotees, we can feel that normally that, okay, Bhagwan is singing, so we have devotion. But there is a science in it that his voice fluctuates at that frequency, which is the frequency of the creation.
Wow.
I found it very fascinating. So in the Omkar, I thought I'll just share this. So it was.
Wow. Phenomenal. And in fact, they have done one study. I think I shared that paper also in the WhatsApp group. And the three frequencies which come out prominently in the Omkar chanting, right? Correlate, each chakra also has a sound associated with it, right? And the three chakras that get activated when we chant Omkar is the Mooladhara, Anahata, and Sahasrara. A, U, and Ma.
Wow.
Mooladhara is the Akaram.
The core, yeah.
Core. Anahata is the heart chakra. U activates the heart chakra, and
Wow.
activates the chakra which is Sahasrara.
Sahasrara.
So in a sense,
Sahasrara.
it covers all the 7 chakras in one shot. Omkaram, activating the whole everything together.
Brother,
Beautiful.
probably you can share that tonoscope image
So
which was shared.
yeah,
Yeah, sure. Actually, that is also very beautiful.
very fascinating. Yeah.
One minute, sorry about that. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is the tonoscope. It seems is a small equipment which converts the sound vibrations into forms, into various geometrical designs. Actually, I think we would have seen this YouTube video where fine sand is thrown on a disc, and then they hit it with a gong, and it immediately takes that sand moves and takes shape, right? So that's something like the tonoscope. Omkaram, when it is chanted properly, it leads to the formation of Sri Chakram, the Sri Yantra. So fascinating, no? And the reason is
Our rishis.
and so perfect it is. Omkaram is actually the form of mother. If you really see, because it's vibration, right? The Paramashiva is behind this vibration. The minute vibration has come, creation has come, and therefore it's
Creation.
mother. And what is the yantra for mother? Sri
Sri
Chakra.
Chakra. Sri Chakra.
Perfect. So that
So our
yantra
rishis
and
have
yantra,
rishis have already discovered these things and presented to us. And they say
yes,
you can't understand, just at least worship this. This is mother's form.
yes,
And this is nothing but Omkar.
yes,
Wow.
yes,
I find these things so fulfilling, and they're like, you can contemplate on it and
yeah,
it's liberating, my God. It's fantastic. The next stage, let us
Beautiful.
discuss. There's another aspect of it which I wanted to share, and let us discuss it. Hopefully, we have time for that. Is the states of Pranava. And this Bhagwan Ram has decided beautifully. And he talks about these states of Pranava, and it will help us as a aspirant, as a practitioner also, in which he talks about Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti, and Turya. And the interesting thing is this, originally I personally thought that this is a state of our consciousness, but I could never think that it is a state of Omkar, which had become the
yes,
state of consciousness for human beings. And it's a journey from Jagrata to Turya, which in one Omkar encompasses. And that
yes,
is like an eureka for me personally. So a state of pranava, and then he has explained how the whole creation is a combination of these four: Jagrat Swapna, Jagrat Sushupti, Jagrat Turya, and Turya's Jagrat. So that's how he has worked on it. So why don't we take a little time and just try to explain what Jagrata, Swapna, Sushupti, and Turya state represent and stand for. So Raju, you want to? I just leave blank statements here. So
Yes.
you want to
As we
start?
had, as we had discussed earlier, Jagrata Swami defines is everything is awake. The senses are awake, the body is awake, mind is awake. They're only awake. Now, Sapna is when the body is not awake, but the mind is awake. The buddhi is also awake, and the self is also awake. Now, Swapna is that where, as I said, mind, then in some sense prajna, and then the supreme self, and then mind goes asleep. That is the sushupti stage where that I-ness, the existence, only the self is awake. The prajna is also awake. Now, Turiya is where Swami beautifully described. It is the state where the awareness of the self is turning into it is awake, but that awakeness is turning into awareness. The awareness that it is the supreme self. So it is the Swami uses a phrase that the self is waking up to the reality that it is nothing but a supreme self embodied itself into one form and name. And that is how Swami describes the Jagrata, Swapna, Sushupti, and Turiya. Now, from the Omkar point of view, Omkar also gives a beautiful explanation that Akara, Ukara, Makara, and the silence that follows it.
yeah,
So, when someone is meditating on Omkara, when he's chanting Omkara, that when he chants Akara, all the aspects of Jagrata state should be concentrated upon. At that point, your mind is dwelling only, and as Swami says, mantra. What is mantra? It is on which the mind is dwelling continuously. That is mantra. So the meaning of it opens up, just like as last time we had discussed, just like a bird that comes and sits on an egg and eventually that egg hatches itself to life. So also the mind should sit on that egg of meaning. Right now it is, you cannot make out the meaning, but as it continuously sits on that meaning, eventually the life, the essence, that the meaning comes out of that egg. That's how the awareness opens up. As Swami, this is Swami's own explanation in Prashnottara Vahini. So when you're chanting Akara, he says all the considerations of the Jagrata state, that time it should be allocated to the akara. Now, when you move to ukara, the state, the all the matters of the sapna avastha. So you had that dream, you had this dream, you had seen something else in the dream. All that affairs of the dream world should be allocated to that space. Sushupti, you are not aware as to what happened, but you know that you exist. So all the affairs of that state has to be given to Akara, Ukara, Makara, Sushupti. And the silence that follows after Makara, where as Swami describes Artha Matra in Rama spoke about it earlier, that state is when you know that you are actually the Supreme Self. So these are the in relation to Omkara, these are the four states. Swami describes that that is how we should be able to create Omkara too.
Oh,
And in fact, it's a Swami says it as the
beautiful.
Pranavopasana. That's the word he uses.
Correct.
Wow.
Beautiful.
The Omkar Upasana itself is like a Nada, what is it called? Nad something, no? That it's a whole
Nada
science.
yoga. Nada yoga.
Nada Yoga. The Nada Yoga
Nada yoga.
completed.
Nada yoga it is.
And he gives here as a very beautiful chart. Let me show you that. It is, I've tried to create it in a chart format in which the combinations we are talking about. So, Jagrata, how it impacts the physical, mental, intellectual, and causal, and Swapna interaction, Sushupti and Turiya. So, this is how the whole development happens. So, Anil brother, you want to throw some light on this? Like how the consciousness moves from one to another, and what is the kind of signs that one can start seeing. I love the way
See,
he explains Turiya Turiya. It's like complete, it's beyond.
so the the movement of consciousness. See, Swami gives actually consciousness, conscience, and so these are two different things. We are conscious in the Jagrat state, right? We lose that body consciousness in the dream state. In the Turiya state, we move from conscious to consciousness, right? And in the Sushupti, so that is Sushupti state. In the Turiya state, we move from consciousness to the over consciousness. Swami used the word super consciousness and over consciousness a couple of times, right? These are the ways. So, conscious being, not consciousness, but being conscious is our Jagrat state, right? And the unusual aspect here that we need to understand is that this vibration, all this is actually a vibration being created in our consciousness, in the deep consciousness of Turiya. A vibration has been created, and that is how we'll end up being in constantly caught up in the vibration, right? And this creation of vibration, when I was seeing, I was absolutely shocked with one beautiful analogy that has come up, which my father had told, is the story of Ahalya. The Ahalya Shapa Vimochana is one of the most important event in Lord Rama's sojourn, which is quoted very often. Why? Why is it that Ahalya Shapa Vimochana given so much importance? Because if we see carefully, Ahalya is not someone who is she is the daughter of Brahma. Lord Brahma creates Ahalya. Okay, and Ahalya was the wife of sage Gautama Muni. She herself was a great sage. Herself was a great tapasvi. And so she, to understand it in a Puranic way, that she fell for Lord Indra and Lord Indra fell for Ahalya, is all a Puranic way of looking at it. Indra stands for conquering of senses. One who has conquered senses is
Yes.
Indra. Indra Padavi is for one who has conquered senses, right? So when Ahalya conquered her senses, it's translated as when she fell in infatuation with Lord Indra, unfortunately. But actually, it means she conquered her senses. She became Ahalya. What is Ahalya? Untilled land. She became still consciousness, no vibration. It's an untilled land. Ahalya. Ahalya is there's no plow hit on the field. The field is undisturbed. She became completely went off into Turiya state, right? She became completely still. And that's why Gautama could not do anything. She is in that state. Now, who can create vibration in that supreme stillness? Only God can create. And that is where when Lord Rama, and in fact, in Valmiki Ramayanam, there's no mention that there was a stone and Lord Rama came and touched the stone with his feet. What is mentioned is Lord Rama enters Gautam Muni's ashram. Enters means his feet touches the ashram's land and Ahalya comes. It's not that the stone was there. She became, that means Lord Rama instilled the vibration back into that still consciousness, proving that he is the supreme being, supreme Lord. This is the proof. This thing is the proof that Lord Rama is the supreme being. And that is where only he can, even Gautama could not get back Ahalya from that state to normal state of Jagrat so that he can lead his life normally. He couldn't do anything. He just left Ahalya as is because he cannot create vibration in that state. Only the supreme being can create. Soka mayata bahusyam prajayeti. I divided myself from that desire only the Lord can have. And therefore, only when he stepped, there was that chalanam or vibration which brought in Lord Ahalya back to Jagrat state. Right? And that is where this.
I like this whole like an explanation. The approach your father has presented is so beautiful.
That's why it's so valuable miracle of Lord Rama, because it is, we shouldn't say miracle, it's a proof of his divinity.
You know how Bhagwan has
Lord Krishna, even in Krishna's time, my father used to say, which is the singular one episode in Krishna's avatar which showed that he is the divine. It is that episode when Lord Brahma hides all the cows and gopalas. He multiplies himself into many. See, that is the proof, because all other things can be done through yogic sadhana, but multiplying oneself into many, which Swami does. In Swami's this one, that statement, that saving in that Bhopal, he goes and says, takes the form of those three people of that friend. And now we all experience in so many forms. Swami himself appears in so many places. Shirdi Baba also used to appear in so many places in different forms. That only the divine can do. Multiplying himself from himself, only the divine can do. All other things are maybe possible through tapasvis, but multiplying oneself from oneself is only possible for the divine. These are singular events.
Just to add that flavor of Mother Ahalya that you mentioned, Bhagwan, even in Ramkatha Rasvahini and in private session, he has mentioned about it that we call it Pashan, as Ahalya turned into Pashan. That Pashan is not the stone that he converted into. He said that is a Pashan behavior, because she had almost at one stage they say that she did not respond in that way
Yeah,
as she should
she
have.
could not respond.
Expectation was not there. So
Yes.
Gautam Rishi just says, we have a unfortunate part is that today's television and everything presentation, they bring down interpretation of rishis and avatars from a human perspective, and they destroy it. So it is not that Gautam Rishi was a Brahma Rishi. So you don't consider Brahma Rishi's response like a human response, and he gets angry as if he does not know what happened behind the scene. So they make it a mess. So Brahma Rishi actually says to Ahalya, it seems that is what Bhagavan mentioned, that since your response has declined, has not there, you are acting like a stone. Imagine that fluctuation of that purity. If it fluctuates, or if you are not giving that attention, it has gone down. So you have become like a pashan. So remain till you achieve. Lord will bless you. So she accepts that as an indication for her penance and goes off into a seclusion. And Gautam Rishi Bhagwan says he disappears from there. And that is how that ashram remains untouched. And because of that, all the
Untouched.
creepers and everything becomes crowded. So the whole village thinks that this is untouched and Rishi has left, so nobody goes near it. And Ahalya also does a severe penance, so much so that she had lost her appearance, she had lost everything, and she had become kind of a part of that whole chaos
Nature.
of the ashram. So when Ram enters, Bhagavan says in a beautiful way, he explains there, he says when Ram walks, he pretends as if he didn't see Ahalya. Because Ahalya was sitting in a corner, hiding herself, doing her prayers, chanting. So he says he pretends as if he didn't see Ahalya, and by mistake his feet touches her sari, that last portion, like as if, and then he says, "Oh Ma," he just turns and acknowledges that, "Oh, you are here." And Bhagavan writes it also very beautifully. He says, at that instant, Ahalya regains her beauty. She regains her youth and gets revived. So it's a culmination. What you're telling me that that Turya merging. So Ahalya must have reached that peak of Turya in that stage, and only Ram could have given her that final, that
Not only that,
liberation point.
only he can bring that
He
person
can.
back to
Sorry.
Jagrat.
Yeah. Correction. Correction.
Once
Correction.
he
Not
do
he
that.
could. He
One,
did.
he did.
And then,
And
yeah, and then
others,
Bhagwan said that at that
even
moment,
Brahma Gautama
Gautam,
could not do it.
yeah,
He
and
was
Bhagwan
separate.
said that time Gautam appears back in the ashram, and then they are both invited for Rama's marriage.
Correct.
These are very beautiful inner stories. Only an avatar can disclose us. But thanks to
Yes.
bring it up, from an Omkar perspective, like
It is
what
Omkar only, no?
word
Yeah,
can
the vibration of Omkar came back, was created back in her by the touch of Lord Rama. And only
fantastic.
Lord Rama can do that, right? That is the
Raju,
supreme.
you are in bliss.
Beautiful.
Say something.
Yeah. I'm just lost. There is that story, that episode of where there's a Swami talks about it in one of the discourses. One devotee had come for darshan, and she's from Australia or something, where everything was getting attracted to her. Swami says that as she walks, her feet was getting attracted to the ground because she has that akarshana shakti. The attraction has developed so much within her that that Mother Earth is holding the form, and there's nothing else that could happen. And he was giving explanation uh, that even the same phenomenon was happening even to his body. That when he is walking,
Mm.
the Mother Earth is pulling it, and he's
No,
not
not
able
healing.
to walk freely.
Take the feet up.
And then he adds that line, take the feet. He adds that line, it is only because it is me, నేను కాబట్టి నడవగలుగుతున్నాను. He explains the story of Australian lady where he says she could not even do. So all that you can do at that state is just to surrender yourself to the pull of the gravitation of Mother Earth and give yourself away, the physical form. But only because it is Lord Swami that he actually is able to resist that pull and is able to walk. And he says, Nenu kabatti. I think these are some of the points. And in fact, I'm just correlating this to Shatananda, where Shatananda realizes that his mother is brought back and Father Gautama is also brought back. And till then, he was actually doubtful of Rama's greatness. The minute he hears this news, he falls flat and prostrates to Rama. And that is the turning
Because that is the proof.
point, Janaka. That's when Janaka begins to suspect that Rama. Yeah. Because he has tried with various people. I mean, everybody said it's almost impossible. And Shatananda, for him, it is the living proof that Rama is a supreme consciousness, and he alone can do this, as Sarad mentioned nicely, that instill back the vibration, the stillness of the supreme self. And Swami, bringing back to the discourse, to that discourse, not discourse, actually, it's a conversation with students in Bhajan Hall. And Swami also, that time it seemed very kind of very innocuous, or it was not making sense. There was no flow in Swami's apparent conversation. But now, when you reflect back and read diary, you realize what the Lord was saying. And then I remember after that, one of our brothers was very excited. He got up and said something like, "Swami, you should not be suffering." And if he was crying. He began to cry. And then Swami said, "Kanneeru teppinchu, kanneeru tappinchu chitti sai." This Sai is capable of getting tears to you, and is also capable of wiping it away. So I think it is only the Lord who actually can do it. Just like Rama alone can instill vibration, the stillness, and take it back. It is only Sai who can pull away the gravitation of the earth and act as if he is affected. And it is only him who can turn your mind towards the world or towards the self. He
He
alone
is
is
Rudra.
the
In fact, the meaning of
creator.
Rudra is that the one who creates makes you cry, and the one who makes you
Cry.
free of crying.
Really? Rudra has that meaning? Okay.
Yeah,
Yes,
two
yes.
meanings.
Bodhana.
So, Kanniru Teppinchu, Kanniru Tappinchu means I am Lord Rudra,
Tappinch.
Swami is saying.
So
And where
beautiful.
is this Rudra?
Beautiful.
Where is this Rudra? Sarvo vai Rudras Tasmai Rudraya Namostu. Purusho vai Rudras Sanmoho Namo Namaha. Vishwam Bhutam Bhonam Chitram Bahuda Jatam Jayamanam Chayat. Sarvohyesha Rudras Tasmai Rudraya Namostu.
Rudra and Namo Namah.
Everything, everything is Rudra. What has been, what is, what will be is all Rudra.
Beautiful.
Beautiful. I think
Beautiful,
these
no?
are, yes,
Let me,
absolutely.
before we close, I wanted to share one more thing. There's a timeline. I was just capturing it, and because we're talking about the meters and all that, so I wanted to share this, that time calculation, how it was done, and how it has started. You remember we were talking about Nimish, and the Nimish was described as the blink of an eye. So they
Wow.
say that, imagine how deep our rishis had gone to calculate. The time had calculation started with the time you blink, and that blinking is 4.56 nimish is equal to 1 second. So today's 1 second is that, and then 30 kshatas makes it one kala, 30 kalas one muhurat, 30 muhurat is one day and night, and 15 day and night is paksha. You know that they have two
Fortnight.
pakshas we celebrate. Huh?
Shukla Paksha and Krishna Paksha.
Shukla Paksha and Yajur Paksha, Yajur Mash, हाँ. And then two Pakshas make it Mahina, which is a month. 6 months make it one Ayan. Two Ayans make it one Sal, 1 year. And that one human year is one day and night of Devatas.
Wow.
And approximately 308 days, they call it, of humans is 1 year of Devatas. Some people even say it is 365 days. I'm not sure about that part. I have to look at it. But I think it is around there. So it makes it 1 year of Devatas. And that's how they calculate the yugas also. Satyug is 4,000, Treta is 3,000, Dwapar is 2,000, and Kaliyug is 1,000 years. And they are all based on the Dev timeline, not human timeline. And four yugas together calls it one kalpa. And then you calculate one kalpa. I wonder about how our rishis had calculated so much. A kalpa is a day of Brahma. 8,000 years of Brahma is one yug. 1,000 yug is one savan. 3,000 savans are life of Brahma. And life of Brahma is one day of Vishnu. And life of Vishnu is one day of Rudra. And life of Rudra is one day of Ishvara. That is the ultimate. And 5,40,000 years of Ishvara is a life cycle of creation.
Wow.
God bless it. I thought this kind of information people may enjoy. This all given in our Purans, and even Gita has this. So
Yeah, it's all
imagine,
actually timelines. Yeah. Really, it's so fascinating. No, the whole world, no, is just timelines. When I see the night sky, no, I'm really fascinated. The light from some star, God knows how many years back or how many hundreds of years back it would have been released from there. Their past is our present. How foolish, no? Really, if you really look at it, what is this past and present? Because what has happened there some 100 years back, that light we are now seeing means what? Their past is our present.
Yeah, they
So
say
what
no
is
that
past?
some
What is
stars
present?
must be gone, some stars must already be dissolved that we are looking at
Because
today.
something would have already happened there, and still it is a present for us because we are seeing that light now, right? So there,
Exactly.
what is this whole timelines, and it's so fascinating. The whole, and then if you go downwards, no, the life cycle of an insect is some 3 days to 15 days, roughly. Okay,
Yeah.
so for an insect, 15 days is 100 years of life. Suppose we say their 100 years is 1 fortnight for us, right? So you go to the other side, we can see that life side, what we have just now seen for devatas and us, no, we can see for us, and we go to lower life forms. They will be looking at human life being equal to something like Ishvara's life, right? For them, the time scales are like that. Crazy.
It's beautiful. I'm sure this kind of
In fact,
people are
there is
also watching us and they're all enjoying it. So if you have any thoughts, please feel free to share with us. Yes, Raju, you're saying something.
I just saying there's one interesting tidbit that there is the calculation that was done. The time that is taken for a human to travel to supposedly the center of universe uh, is is approximately equal to the time that a microbe, the lowest microbe that is actually at the tip of your toe, the time it takes to travel to the center of your brain. It is almost in a uh, similar scale because of the sizes.
Interesting.
Really.
Okay. So finally, there is also an instruction as we read Pranavas and we close it. He says, who should be taught these exclusive 16 states of Pranava? And Bhagavan Ram was very serious about it and he said, Hanuman, this is the only treasure I have and the most sacred one that I have shared with you. So be cautious and careful about it. And Bhagavan Ram says, one who has the greatest regard for Upanishads, who has desire for Videhe Mukti, highest, non-attached to the external objects, and distinguishing marks of a Jivan Mukta. So a person has to be a Jivan Mukta to practice Pranava.
No.
And those who should never be taught, he has even given that. And he says, never teach this to wicked-minded, deceiver, atheist, ungrateful one, who is immersed in sensual pleasures and who always pretends to have reached that high state of Jivan Mukta. I think we have enough of those. And who is devoid of devotion to teacher, and etc. It lists longer for never. And that is how our final instruction which Ram has given to Lord Hanuman is this. Imagine how important it is to be a recipient of, and that is why we discussed that point of why Hanuman was a recipient. The desire to cross that sound barrier has to be there.
Yes.
And Hanuman, being the representative of sound, has to cross the sound barrier. And for him, this Omkar was the most critical and required knowledge. But the beauty of what I learned from Hanuman is that he never repeated his mistake. And the moment he gets it, it's a realization for Hanuman. So, as a sadhaka, truly he literally represents an ideal sadhaka. So, when Bhagwan made his idol in Hillview Stadium and he said, follow Hanuman, it makes more and more sense to me now that why Hanuman is such a beautiful role model to be in place. So not only he was an avatar, but he literally played an amazing role of a sadhaka and
Yes.
with utmost humility, with utmost humility.
Yes.
I find just to close this chapter, I find this in Ramayana every character is amazing.
Yes.
And just my thought I'm dumping at you all is that, look at Shatrughna, for example. I find Lakshman obviously immersed his identity and was with Ram. Bharat, he was immersed with Ram and he said, I'm not going to rule. He put his footstool on it and he said, now your foot will run the Your Padukas will run the kingdom. Poor Shatrughan got stuck. And the Ramayana has a very beautiful story in which Shatrughan is crying one evening, and mother comes and says, "Why are you crying?" He said, "How unfortunate and sinner I must be that all my brothers are in the same state, and I am the only one who is supposed to wear this royal garment and conduct the day-to-day affairs." Look at the detachment of Shatrughan. And in fact, when we call it Ramarajya, and today you shared that it is Bharata who laid the foundation of Ramarajya. You know, Bharat ran it. But actually, Bharat was never stepped out of his kutia for 14 years. It was Shatrughan on behalf of Bharat who was running it. So practically, it was Shatrughan who ran for 14 years. And it seems Bharat slept on the floor in the kutia. Shatrughan slept outside the kutia for 14 years. So even his wife has not seen Shatrughan for 14 years. What kind of characters these were in Ramayana? And we don't even mention Shatrughan anywhere. Whereas Shatrughan, I felt now after knowing this truth, I felt that Shatrughan is the most glorified one, who remained totally. His name also doesn't appear. Bharat gets popular, Lakshman gets praises because of being with Ram, and obviously we worship Ram. But poor Shatrughan, who actually made Ram Raja, but he dissolved himself to nothing. That even we don't even have a conversation of Shatrughan in Ramayana.
I
What a
don't know.
personality.
Beautiful, just fascinating. One common thing I heard. I don't know whether means I didn't. I heard Swami said it, but I didn't physically hear it. Means personally come across it. A person who is going to be a Jivan Mukta, right? Who will be given liberation. It seems no trace of his name will remain in this world. And Swami mentions it seems even Mother Radha took a birth once again as a child, as a blind child, lived for 8 years, and then she got mukti. Because no trace of name should remain. So a true devotee of Lord, when Lord gives the true blessing, no, it will be like Shatrughan, whose name also will not remain.
Wow.
Beautiful.
I'm thinking of Karunananda Swami.
Yeah, no name also will not remain. You see some
Mm.
of the devotees, Swami has said so many devotees have been liberated in Swami's time itself. He has personally given liberation to so many, but their names don't figure. Name is not supposed to be to remain in this world if the GV has to be taken into the final emergence. So maybe Shatrughna, even now we worship Sita, Rama, Lakshmana Sameta, right? Lakshmana has to be there whenever we worship Lord Rama and Mother Sita.
Maybe it is his destiny to come and
So he has to continue to be there all the time, but
because of
not
Ram.
but not merge in Rama, right? So maybe that was bestowed on Shatrughna. We don't know. See
You know,
these
Karunananda
aspects
Swami,
of the divine,
Karunananda
these
Swami
aspects of the
Samadhi.
divine, these aspects of the divine, very difficult to understand. Very
You know,
very difficult.
I was just finding out Karunananda Swami's Samadhi was at Chitravati banks.
Yes,
And we got to know when we were cleaning Chitravati and we were fixing that.
correct.
And that time we saw, and we felt, my God, this person is Samadhi just like that line. So we tried to fix it, but when they were rebuilding it, I think somebody broke it again. So I'm not sure whether it is still there or not. But can you imagine these kind of giants of spiritual realm? They are so humble. Raju, final words before we close for today.
No, it's beautiful. One story comes to my mind. Shatrughna has now he's after he's relaxing after 14 long years. I mean, he's getting in the relaxive mode because administrative uh, responsibility is taken over by Emperor Ramachandra. It's the first day Rama has for the first time given the insignia of emperor, and Shatrughna was tasked with a unique task that he should, with his 14 years of experience in ruling the kingdom in Rama's physical absence on behalf of Bharata, he should give a list of potential troublemakers so that Rama will supposedly be alert and appropriate action will be taken by the emperor. So Shatrughna thinks all night, and he gets two names. Two people who are always sarcastic to him. They would not uh, follow what Shatrughna says. They had their own set of agendas. It appeared so. So Shatrughna had a tough time holding them. So now, as Rama asked, now it has become his responsibility. So very unwillingly, he writes those two names, and he is walking towards the chamber of Rama. And Rama is, as I said, Rama has already placed the first insignia of emperor. Now the second document that would be signed by him is this, and Shatrughna is handing over, and that's when the chamber doors open, and two ministers whom Shatrughna mentioned are walking into the chamber, and Shatrughna is shocked that why are they coming now at that inappropriate moment. There is no time for Rama to open the document. Rama just takes it, is holding in the hand. Those two ministers come, and they have been a constant nuisance to Shatrughna. All the time, there were any new practice that Shatrughna gets, they'll say he's trying to taint Rama's, trying to wash away the legacy of Dasharatha, or he's trying to put his individual identity of Shatrughna. All those sorts of criticisms he was subjected to. So Shatrughna is in a fix. He's looking at Ramachandra. Then all that they could do in those times of troubles were chant Rama's name, and silently he's chanting. And Rama is not still opened. The document, it is still in his hand. And these two ministers come, and then they fall at Rama's feet, and then they start crying. They are quite old. There were the 8 ministers who were appointed together at one point of time by Dasharatha. So those two fall at Rama's feet and they cry and say, Rama, all these years, 14 years, we have tried our best to hold back the traditions and values that your father has installed in this kingdom. It is now we are satisfied that you have come back, and we are now offering this kingdom back to you. All these years, as you have commanded to us, we have been trying to guide and ensure that Shatrughna does not cross the line. We have been constant botheration to him, and now we are free, that we are free of the responsibility. You should forgive us. And they turn to Shatrughna and say, please forgive us for being such taunters. And they say, Rama, allow us, permit us, so that we retire, and now we seek the real Rama within our hearts. We need time for sadhana. That is when Shatrughna is shocked that these two were so selflessly doing their duty that actually they are following the Lord's instruction to ensure that Shatrughna is always on his toes. And Shatrughna just looks at Rama. Rama has not opened the document. Rama just smiles and gives the document back to Shatrughna. And that is when Shatrughna realized that, my Lord, that everybody was playing to their perfection each role that they were assigned to. And that is what Ramana is all about.
You just bring so much memories to me. I can't even tell you.
Yes, all
Perfect
of this.
management techniques, which Bhagwan also used to do.
Yes,
You bring so many memories to me. Oh God. Anyways, it is beautiful. I think avatars don't change. They can come as Rama,
yes,
Krishna, Sai, or whatever. Their modus operandi is always the same. So it's beautiful. Love it. Thank you, brothers. I think it was a pleasure and
And
beautiful journey so far. And let's pray to Bhagwan that he continues to give us this beautiful opportunity. I would say divine, blessed opportunity. And especially when the world is culminating with this Ram Janmabhoomi, Ram new
yes,
temple for Ram. And we are also blessed to conduct these sessions and bask in this glory. So grateful all the audience and viewers who are sending your feedbacks and responses. We really love it. And if we can improve on anything, please feel free to share and write to us. Thank you. The video will be available. Sairam Bhaiya. Sairam
Sai Ram.
everybody.
Karam.